taking its time.
I fucking scooped so many motherfucking meatballs.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Such Good Shoot, the podcast about anything and everything in the world of wrestling. And here tonight, we have the Meatball Master himself, scooping over 7,000 meatballs today. We have Isaac.
That's a lot of meatballs.
But not enough for your mouth.
Oh.
And next to him, we have, all the way from Columbus, Ohio, bringing in the bush, we have Shane.
Hello.
And I'm Dozer, and we're going to just get it on tonight.
I would like to start out by saying something in earnest and in all seriousness. And I just want to take one moment to shout out our good friend of the show, Dennis Day Jr., first. And I know your knee is banged up and you fucked up your ACL again. And we're all thinking of you, and we hope you recover quickly. And also to Aaron, our biggest fan, Aaron, good luck tomorrow. We all love you. So I'm going to crack my first drink and toast.
We'll drink to that.
To our friends who are under the weather.
And while we get that going, let's see what we're all drinking tonight or we're doing tonight. Tonight, I have, from my good neighbor, Eli, we have Coconut Cartel Dark Guatemalan Rum with coconut water. So it is not coconut flavored, but when they watered it down from barrel proof, they use coconut water for it. And it's quite good. Isaac has...
Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful color on that delicious twisted tea. Half and half.
I was going to call that hazy brown lager.
Yep. I'm just going straight half and half tonight because, I'm just going 5%. So I'm not hitting 8%. I'm trying to,
go for the 5.
Yeah, that's why I ate a bunch of edibles before the show. Because I'm trying to take it easy. Hey, wait, what? Who told you?
I've just got a couple Miller Lights.
Yo.
Really? Oh, it's time. It's time.
It's Miller time.
Miller time.
Dude, my old neighbor who's like a wake up and start drinking kind of drunk. He used to drink like those Miller Lights, man. He always had like 2 cases of them, and he would wake up at like 10 a.m., start drinking, and he would go until like 3 a.m. every day.
I don't know how you do all that.
I don't either, man. It was fucking intense, man. Insane. But
I mean, if I'm like pounding beers, I'd be out by like 4 in the afternoon.
Shout out to Studio, man. He managed to do that shit.
I used to have a neighbor that would walk around the neighborhood with a backpack full of Miller. And then when he finished his backpack is when he knew it was time to go home.
All right, man. At least you have limits, right?
Yeah, he had his limits. He was ready. And you know what we're ready for? You know what we're absolutely 100% ready for that we are never ready for? Chic of the week. Chic of the week. Chic of the week. Chic of the week.
Week of the chic.
Cheeky wiki.
Cheeky wiki bear.
Dumbo.
Dumbo, the
more
like elephant.
Dumb son of a bitch.
He had a good one last week that cracked me up, but I don't remember what it was. But it made me laugh. He's a good one. What else we got?
Let's see. If you put ice in your George Clooney tequila, you can go fuck yourself too.
George Clooney has a tequila?
I
Doesn't
guess.
every celebrity?
I don't know. I guess they all have some sort of. I guess they all have some sort of fucking liquor. I just didn't think they all had a tequila.
Casamigos tequila.
Casamigos?
Yes.
Oh wow! All
I'm
right.
following this to an article. Apparently, he made just a shocking amount of money off of the tequila.
Wow.
I would like to figure out where in the article. It says, oh geez, he sold the company in 2017 after owning it for like 4 years, and he sold it for a like $1 billion.
Damn. All right.
Well, okay. Apparently, I need to get into the tequila business.
Right, dude.
Unfortunately, I don't think you're as popular as George Clooney.
How do you know?
This is a good one.
Sorry for judging you.
The corduroy bear always getting lost. Fuck that jabroni.
Oh, dear Lord, Sheiky baby.
Oh, God. Oh, here it is. This is the one that I saw that I really liked. It was like a couple series. It was like absence makes the heart go fuck yourself. And then it went from that to the heart wants what the heart wants. And my heart wants to beat the fuck out of that Hollywood blonde jabroni Hulk Hogan. That one got me good.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a damn good one.
The heart wants, man.
But you know what's not a good one? It is WWE trying to trademark, then not trademarking, then immediately abandoning the trademark, but still going with changing Walter's name to Gunther, the barista from Friends.
I have a goddamn fucking Walter t-shirt from WWE shop.
Like,
Yeah.
I think I mentioned, like I said something like this to you guys just in the private chat, and I was talking to Wade about it. And the thing that bothers me most about it is there's not even a gimmick change involved. When they were going to change Keith Lee's name to Bearcat, at least there was like a shift in attitude, and there was something that like indicated the name change. They just changed. Well, it made no sense, but at least there was that. They just
no. I mean, I'm talking about Walter.
Oh yeah, they just changed Walter's name. They didn't even do anything different to him. They just fucked off and changed his name. They Viking Raiders him.
It's so much worse than Viking Raiders too. It's so much worse in so many ways because
they started with the Viking experience, bro.
But even still, like the War Raiders, as over as they were, I'm sure there were people that were out there being like, yeah, whatever. There's nobody on the fucking planet in the wrestling community who badmouths Walter. He's fucking incredible. This is a guy that no matter what you do, as long as you put him out there and let him work his style match, give him a belt, he'll fucking get blasted to the moon and he'll make you fucking millions. But they're just like, yeah, whatever. Well, the fans like him too much, so we're gonna fucking cut his balls off.
They didn't create the name Walter, unfortunately. They did create the name Gunther, I guess, even though that was my dog's name.
And I knew a guy named Gunther. I've known it's not that I've known Walters.
And it's not even it's not even a significant change. It's like it's just so unnecessary.
I would not have minded. Now, granted, I did not know him at this point, but it does not bother me when they change their name when entering the company. Yeah, okay, welcome to WWE. Your name is now Hideo Itami. Whatever.
Yeah, bring him in. If you're going to bring him into your NXT UK and you're going to name him something.
But once he's in the system, once he is on TV, once he has held one of your damn top tier belts, you don't change that name unless you really need to.
Do we have anybody that knows when WWE signed him and first started putting him on TV?
That's actual journalism.
I mean, he was like, Isaac, you gonna look it up? Someone gonna look it up? I will.
Yeah, bro, I got it.
He's like the longest reigning champion in WWE modern history. Like in the record books, he held the NXT UK championship for like 2,800 days.
And now we're just going to change his name. And I hate to say it, even just trying to do my best German accent, Gunther, Walter. One of those names sounds way more imposing than the other, and it's not Gunther.
he debuted in WWE UK in like the beginning of January, almost 2 years ago to the day, almost. And that means that like literally they've invested countless dollars in this guy for 2 years, right? In their program, and just now have decided, yeah, we're gonna just like take all the fucking effort and branding, etc. we did with them, and we're gonna throw it away.
I guarantee you the full plan, which hopefully we will not see now. I guarantee you, because his name was the Ring General. Bruce Pritchard or Kevin Dunn sat there and went, oh, he's a general. We'll make him a German general. We'll make him a German general who's a tank commander. I'm not even going to say that the name was a Nazi. Like, we don't need to cover that. Like, that's just where their thinking went. Gunther sounds like guns.
They did not see all this backlash coming.
No. Because apparently, here's the problem. And I would have to do research for this, and I'm not going to do research for this. I guarantee you, though, you go on Google, you search Gunther Stark, first thing you're going to get is that German tank commander, whatever. But if you Bing it, you probably don't.
Gunther Stark. Well, now it's WWE is abandoned, controversial. Yeah. WWE backs away from, abandoned. And now we're getting to Kapitänleutenant Gunther Stark, German U-boat commander. He's I
have to say, if they were going to, like, if they went whole hog and decided to make him a U-boat commander, that's just hilarious because nobody built like Walter would ever be in a U-boat or any submersible vehicle.
I've got to say, and I don't want to be this guy, but I've seen. This is Gunther, and I've seen a lot of Jewish people in my life being Jewish, and he's just lucky that they never checked, let's just say, because that's a Jewish man right there who sold out his people. Fuck Gunther. Fuck Gunther.
I'm just not buying the Gunther. I don't like the name. I don't think it sounds as...
And how soon till they abandoned? Oh, did we just lose Dozer? I think we might have lost Dozer temporarily.
Oh, that's.
I mean, they're gonna abandon this name soon enough. You know what I mean? Or not even just abandon the name. They're gonna abandon him. You know what I'm saying? They're just gonna like. Honestly, the fans like him so much. Do you not see him? Do you see him in WWE in a year?
Main roster, yeah. Honestly, I mean, he's big enough. I think that they will bring him to the main roster. He will then start acting like every other foreign, European style big man, where he's just angry at America, and he'll go and he'll fight the people, and they'll do the Patriot thing. I bet you when he gets to the main roster, they'll treat him a lot like
Rusev.
Like a lot like Rusev, yeah.
That was exactly what I was starting to think. It's like, fuck, they're gonna like Rusev him, and he's gonna be this Austrian prick. And honestly, I can see what Dozer was saying about that. Like, if you think about it, like that is very much like their style is to be like, oh, he's an Austrian pal. He's gonna get a lot of heat, and it's like, well. I don't know. People don't necessarily want to hate this guy. Like, people really want to. Like...
Oh, but the thing is I think that for what they want him to do, he'll be fine on the main roster, because you have to think that half of the crowd that goes to main roster shows anymore probably does not watch NXT, has not watched NXT, does not care about NXT, and only cares about about the main show, that it got time for rookies, and they still think Hogan's the best wrestler of all time. So
who's that? Back. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome back to the show our distinguished friend and co-host, Mr. Dozer himself, aka the Disney Dude, aka Mr. Zubaz, aka I love to drink.
Somebody's been listening to too much Cornette.
Actually, I haven't recently.
Neither have I. It's better for my mental health.
Listen to a lot of Come Town. Listen to a lot of coverage of the Maxwell trial.
You know what else
Books
is
on
really good
tape.
for your mental health?
Sex.
If you have a problem, getting the problem solved, even if vanilla ice helps. And, just like John Moxley did, he had a problem, he got help, and he looks fucking phenomenal.
Dude, legit. Like, fuck, dude. I want to get a drinking problem just so I can stop, so I can look that fucking good. He, like, honestly, he looks like the fucking, oh, what was his name when he confronted Mick Foley before he was Dean?
Oh, yeah.
God,
Yeah.
he had another name before Dean Ambrose. But yeah, he looked like a kid. He looks like a kid. And it was awesome. It was really good to see. And I know that I am currently drinking alcohol and smoking marijuana. So maybe I'm not the best person to say this, but it's good for him. I'm
Yeah.
proud of him. And anybody who needs to get help should get the help they deserve and they need. And I'm glad that he's out there, putting a good face on it, because you see a lot of the horror stories, and it's always nice to see people get through that. And the last thing we want is to be toasting someone like Dean Ambrose, because he couldn't handle his demons. So good for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
I mean, and beyond that, and obviously I agree. AEW is better with Mox around. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, he is the chaotic good of AEW, and they
Yeah.
need him. They need
Yeah.
him bad at times.
I mean, you just never know where he's gonna pop up or what he's gonna do. So,
And he's gotten me really hype when I hear Wild Thing hit. Like
like Wild Thing from that movie, Major League.
Yes,
Well, that's his theme now.
literally that version.
yeah.
Charlie Sheen, baby. Can you believe he just went out and fucked girls and gave him AIDS? That's messed up, dude. He didn't get in any trouble for that. Like, shouldn't you get in trouble for doing that?
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's actually illegal. At least
Yeah,
if you knew it.
Oh, I forget what actor it is. There's this thing that goes around every year to remind you that some happy-go-lucky actor ran over like 4 people and killed them, and nobody cares.
Damn, dude.
Wow.
And it's some. I cannot remember who it is, so I'm not going to besmirch a name that is not accurate.
Was it Christopher Reeve?
No.
Well,
Because he's always rolling around.
What do we got with Abdullah?
Abdullah the Butcher purposefully gave a bunch of wrestlers hepatitis.
Well, yes, but
and
he's a shitbag.
Speaking about Abdullah the Butcher, Ring of Honor's back.
Speaking of hepatitis,
Ooh.
Pamela Anderson.
Is Ring of Honor actually back, or is it just their title being defended everywhere else?
No. They announced like an hour ago Supercard of Honor for April.
1 out. Breaking news, folks. We have a banner for that, don't we?
Ooh.
Breaking news, folks. We got a breaking news story here. Something about Ring of Honor's back.
Yeah. They just announced like an hour ago that Supercard of Honor will be, I think, somewhere in New York, sometime early April. And
I hope it's MSG.
The only no, I don't think it's that big. The only match they've announced so far is John Gresham versus Bandito for like the title, because Bandito got COVID or whatever before the last show, so he couldn't defend the title even though he was champion. So then they had Jay Lethal face John Gresham. John Gresham won. So now they're having a.
Isn't he that like law author? He like writes courtroom dramas.
No.
It's spelled differently.
Okay.
It's Gresham and Grisham.
Okay.
I'm
sorry, I'm old.
Very stupid.
That is stupid.
I had something and I completely lost it.
You'd really
Ring of Honor. We were talking about Ring of Honor.
Yes, we were absolutely talking about Ring of Honor, and I was going to say, has anybody seen this bubbling feud going on between Jay Lethal and Ricky Starks? Because this has me hype.
I mean, I saw a little bit of it. I don't know how hype I am on it, because they like hired Jay Lethal and now he's gonna go lose to Ricky Starks.
You know what I'm hype on though? Oh, I'm sorry.
It-
No, keep talking because I got a hype thing too.
Yes, they hired Jay Lethal, but how long have they hired him for? If AEW does what I think is the best for the wrestling industry, where you hire people for an angle plus a little bit of time and then renew when it's time for another angle, I think that's great. And, on some of these mid card talent, like Ricky Starks, they need people to feed them, to build them without diminishing their own homegrown talent too much. And I think using somebody like Jay Lethal in that aspect is not a terrible use, especially if Jay Lethal is biding his time till Ring of Honor's back.
Yeah, I mean, and like I understand that, and that makes total sense for AEW, but also I just like Jay Lethal, so I don't want to see him lose to Ricky Starks.
So I like Jay Lethal too. He's one of the best things going, but I also like Ricky Starks, and I really want Ricky to be built up. Because I think him and Hook have the it factor.
I have to, man. I'm gonna piss people off. I've only seen pictures of Hook, and I don't get it.
You have to watch, it's the swagger. He has the swagger.
You have to watch the wrestling.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just haven't really been
The-
able to watch much
The
AEW.
look,
so
he looks like a kind of a burned out Gen Z kid.
I mean, he
just
really,
the look
whew,
is not like
it's,
from a
yeah.
picture, it's not great. But when you see him walk, when you see the facials, when you see the swagger he has with Action Bronson playing in the background,
See,
it works.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not as sold as everyone else is, but like, he's definitely better than when I made fun of him when he debuted a year ago, because I was like, why the fuck is Taz as a kid here, and why is he called Hook?
Is it because he's from Red Hook?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh wow. I'd like to think it's because he looks like Rufio Bangarang. Hell yeah. That's a Hook cut right there. Who was Hook in that? Who played Hook in that? It was somebody, and who played Shmi? Does anyone know? It was somebody famous who played one of those two. It was like Dustin Hoffman or fucking.
Hold on. Dustin Hoffman was Captain Hook. And Shmi was Bob Hoskins.
Yes.
I love me some Bob Hoskins.
God, dude. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? What a great movie. One of the best of all times.
Absolutely.
The only time you see fucking Bugs and Mickey in the same spot.
And
the same film.
There's, depending how you listen to it, you may have Donald calling Daffy the N-word. It all depends, like how you interpret
but
some
they're
of the
on
things.
Screen at the same time.
Yes,
that's important.
But that was the whole thing.
Yeah. You know what?
For the contract to work, they had to promise them exactly equal screen time. So when a Disney and a Looney Tune are on the screen, it is always at the exact same time.
And I remember, especially with Daffy and Donald on the piano thing, like one of them couldn't get over on the other one. Like they both had to get in the equal number of shots or whatever. It was like one couldn't like beat the other one up.
That's a contract I never want to read.
I know, but beating people up. Speaking of promos that got you hyped, there's been a couple of promos from a few of them boys that have, for me, been just fucking incredible because all of them have chicken, just like eating random food from like pudding to fucking Pop-Tarts while he's just talking shit about how bad he wants to beat up FTR. And I don't know about you guys, but when I saw the pudding one, when he just like halfway through this promo goes over and picks up a pudding cup and just starts eating, I lost it. And I was like, I love these guys more than pretty much any wrestler that I can think of right now.
Well, the big thing that makes them work, they have that chicken farmer gimmick. That's not a gimmick.
No, it's that. It's just who they are. Like it really is just turned up. And like anytime you do that with people who are authentically interesting, like it's great. It's fucking great. And even if they're not like huge, you believe that those boys can fight.
Yeah, it's not like Hillbilly Jim, who now does the coin collecting circuit.
No,
Hey.
these they're chicken farmers. That's what they're gonna do until they die, and it's awesome, and I love them for it. And I am, you know what? Breaking news number 2. I think next week, is it next week? We're going to review a very important pay-per-view coming up. And I know WWE has the Royal Rumble. Is it this weekend, the Royal Rumble?
No, Royal Rumble's next week.
Next
I
weekend.
believe.
Good, because we're not
No, I
watching
think
that. It's soon. Whenever it is, it's soon.
it's on a
No,
Saturday. That's
but
what's really
this
bad about it.
weekend, we are watching GCW Bloodbath 6, Brawl in the Backyard of the mall.
No, it's
Eastern
GCW.
Township, Pennsylvania. Oh, now we're losing Shane. Holy shit, dude! This is the best.
This is a cursed episode,
No,
and
this
I
is
even put on my
awesome.
good voice tonight.
This is me and you, baby. Do you know what it's called? GCW what? I'm still going with fucking.
I have no
Bloodbath
idea.
6.
Real Backyard Wrestling 4. I don't know.
That's what I was saying.
Is that the one that comes with the Backyard Babes DVD as well?
Oh God, I dropped my blunder. That's so funny. Yes.
I don't know. Okay, so I honestly thought the Royal Rumble was Saturday, so cool.
When is it?
It's next Saturday.
So it's the
29th. So
why is it on a Saturday?
Because they're doing the Saturday shit now sometimes.
That doesn't make any sense. A Saturday pay-per-view for WWE.
They've started it. I don't mind it because now that their shows go to like 12:30, and I just sit there and go, I have to work. Like you people realize the people that can afford this shit have to work.
What's the GCW show called?
The World.
The World.
Yes.
Oh, so
hailing
it's the old WWF restaurant.
Hailing live from the Hammerstein Ballroom.
Shane's not quite old enough to remember, but man,
Yes,
those are.
I know. I remember the WWF restaurant from Times Square. They would always cut to it in like the year like 2000. Like we're
When I
throwing
was
it
a
over to
kid-
the restaurant.
When I was a kid in '99, dude, there is no place in the world. Okay, there is one other place in the world I wanted to go to more in New York City than fucking the WWE Times Square restaurant, and that was because I listened to a lot of Howard Stern at that point, and that was I wanted to go to Scores Strip Club, but I wasn't old enough for that, so.
I wanted to go to WWE The World. I never made it, but I got it. I got in the building when it became the Hard Rock Cafe.
Oh. You know what the best steakhouse in New York City is?
It's probably at a strip club.
It is absolutely at a strip club. It's at the Penthouse Strip Club. They
Doesn't
have
surprise me.
incredible dry aged steaks and fucking incredible titties. Yeah, it's wild. Like you get like a fucking $200 goddamn fucking dry aged fucking Wagyu fucking ribeye
Because
or something.
they know their money makers are business people there.
We're doing a meeting. We're doing a lunch meeting. So Royal Rumble is coming up. I guess we don't need to talk about it then because we can talk about
Yeah,
it.
no, I thought it
next
was
week.
this weekend. So
Awesome. So fuck
it really helps when you don't watch WWE programming because you have no idea when anything's happening.
So what is that? Where does that leave us on our? We have a list, folks. We have a list, and
We've had a list. We just don't normally listen to it too well.
Oh,
I
list
think
things.
I think next up would either be after the GCW would either just be a random episode or I think WWF is up next.
Oh, I was just talking about on this show that we're doing currently.
Oh,
because we were going to talk about Royal Rumble, and then we're like, yeah, with Royal Rumble, we don't need to talk about it. So we announced we're going to do GCW.
Yeah,
what else we got?
Hopefully, it's under 6 hours long because I don't want to watch that much wrestling.
No, I think it'll be like 3 to 3.5, depending if they set up for like a death match. Like if they're going to do Homicide versus Mox as a death match, they'll probably take like a 20-minute intermission.
Because somebody's got to get all those light tubes.
Well, you gotta clean up all that guys. I just want to see fucking FTR and fucking them boys. I'll watch just for that.
You hope.
Oh, dude, I'll pay good money for it.
Well,
I'll pay double.
Like I said, it's not announced who they're facing yet, so it could just be a random GCW tag team, and then you're gonna be mad as hell.
Them boys.
Dem Boys versus whoever, because
I wouldn't
it's
be
an
too
unannounced
pissed off.
tag
No, I wouldn't
match.
be too pissed off. I would be pissed off if it was FTR versus unannounced, and then it wasn't them boys. But I wouldn't
Oh.
be as pissed off the other way because I don't like. There's not as many opportunities for me to see the Briscoes wrestle right now.
Yeah.
So it just feels a little more special, and not to take anything away from FTR. Because as we will get into soon, well, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just get into this one.
It's time for the main event, where tonight we get in our takeover time machine and we go back, way back to 2016, I think, and we go to Dallas, Takeover Dallas, where the show is opened by American Alpha taking on the Revival. One fall to a finish.
Dude, as soon as this came on, I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be a fun pay-per-view. Like it immediately started me off completely in the right mindset. And one of the first things I did was I think I messaged DDJ and I was like, dude, is there a better matchup, like tag team matchup between two teams in the NXT during this whole era? Before fucking, I would say, Adam Cole and Undisputed came in, really. Is there a better matchup than this American Alpha and fucking FTR?
Yes.
Okay, awesome, because I couldn't think of one. What do you got? During that era,
the Revival and DIY, which is Gargano and Ciampa.
Okay,
I can.
When does that start?
Very soon. So what was the date on this show? Like
April 1st, 2016.
Okay, so
April Fool's Day. This is right before WrestleMania.
Yes.
I'm looking over at a poster I have on my wall. And on March the 3rd of 2016, I saw DIY that wasn't called DIY yet face the Vaudevillains. So
what were
they were like they were just like on the poster. It's just Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. So I would say that, I don't know, maybe even on the next takeover we might see a DIY match.
Okay.
Or takeover after that, something like that.
Okay. And I won't argue too much about that, because I do think Ciampa is incredible and Johnny Gargano is a great wrestler, and that's a great matchup. But man, fuck me, running Chad Gable at this point was just killing it. Fucking Kurt Angle's kid there, even though he wasn't the best, like he's good, and he was like good at being passionate and getting into it and getting you to get into him, even though he wasn't the best wrestler, but he's a believable big man.
This match,
hot tag specialist.
Yeah. This match made me believe that his injury is one of the biggest travesties to happen in wrestling at such a young age.
Oh, I mean, for sure. Because, I mean, can you imagine if they would have stuck? I mean, first of all, they fucked it up by breaking them up to begin with.
100%.
Can you imagine if they would have stuck with them as a tag team, just like they've done for the New Day or the Usos? You know what I mean?
It works so well, and
it's just Team Angle 2.0, except like actually likable. Like obviously, Team Angle was a great team, but I wouldn't say Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin were likable. American Alpha is likable.
Yes. It's easy to get behind them, and you could also see them easily turning heel if you had to do it.
Yeah, because then they would just start using their wrestling for mean and not just to win.
And I don't mean to keep cutting you off, Dozer, but I do remember like early on in their run watching the Gable promos and being like so annoyed that I actually liked it.
So
I was just annoyed at myself for liking it because I didn't want to.
I remember those original Chad Gable promos, and it gave me flashbacks. That's the whole thing with this whole history of American Alpha. Like, American Alpha themselves gave me flashbacks to friggin' Team Angle. But the Chad Gable, like, debuting, going around, trying to get a partner, gave me flashbacks to early Dolph Ziggler. Hi, I'm Dolph Ziggler.
Both great wrestlers.
Which, by the way, I went to a rather liberal college, and we would often get conservative, different protesters at the college. And one day I walked up and down their little picket line they had going to every single person. Hi, I'm Dolph Ziggler.
Damn, dude. They probably were like, "You're one of us, Dolph." You sound like
Probably.
you hate minorities too.
Oh no, they weren't hating on minorities. I think they were hating on killing babies,
dude.
Which made no sense because it's not like there was.
Yeah, it's not like people
was
are just
college. It was a campus. Like,
they're just mad because of all the swallowing that was going on.
Probably.
Hey, there's 1,000 babies right there.
But the match itself, boy, was it pretty good.
Oh, it was damn good.
This is better than pretty good. This is great.
You had the Olympic stylings of American Alpha taking on the Anderson-esque style of the Revival. It was amazing.
This was as close to perfect as you could get for me, except for the one botch and the fucking crowd blowing up at it.
And the crowd wasn't even bad yet.
And that was the biggest issue with the match was the crowd.
What was the
chant? There was just like they went for, I think it was like a bulldog off the rope, and they kind of missed it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The crowd started chanting "fucking you fucked up," and then they started chanting "Botchamania," and like it just sort of it took away from it because it was like, like it is what it is. But the match itself, other than that moment, I would have given it a 4 or 5. Honestly, for the quality of tag match it was and how exciting it was and just how into it everyone was. But there was also,
I hate to cut you off, but I'm also not positive that wasn't an intentional botch. Like, that's something that has happened in real tag matches, like intentionally of the wrong person pinning someone. Like,
the way that DIY reacted to it, I sort of feel like it wasn't planned, because during the Botchamania chants, he was like, you could see he was kind of pissed off. Dax or what, Dash or whatever they called him. While I don't know. Anyway, but yeah. But the match itself was so good. It's a 4.25 all day long for me.
Oh, I thought you said 4.5 last. 4.25.
I was gonna do 4.5, but because of the botch and because the crowd really, honestly, calling so much attention to it to the point where they had to react to it, it lost a little bit for me.
That is an NXT crowd.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
An NXT crowd around this point for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, 4.25. But the reality is the crowd at this point affected the matches a lot. And I hate to fucking agree with Vince Russo and anything, but it's true. Like, the crowd would get obnoxious to points where they fucking made it hard to watch. Sometimes.
Not inaccurate.
Not always.
Yeah, I mean, this was just a great tag team match. There wasn't anything super like crazy or insane. Nobody was taking any death bumps. There was a lot of clean chain wrestling. There was a lot of old school heel tactics and quick tags and what you want to see from the Revival. American Alpha. Chad Gable got beaten down for about the first 10 minutes of the match, and and Jason Jordan came and took the straps off. The crowd went crazy. And he
ended up winning.
Yeah,
it was a really good moment for him.
I was gonna say American Alpha won. I like it enough to give it a solid 4.
That's a very fair rating. I mean, for me, it's just my style of wrestling, pure.
Yeah,
just badass wrestling. It was great.
I came into this match. And this is one of the first times I've come into one of these pay-per-view reviews actually remembering watching this stuff the first time. And I remember the first time I was not hot on this match, but that's because I had a lot of prejudices against American Alpha, as I stated, and I did not yet understand the Revival fully. Now that I understand it and watching it with a more critical eye, I gave it a 4.5, but I also, at that moment, believed the botch spot, to be intentional. And the
Okay.
crowd ruining it, making it feel unintentional.
Okay.
And without the crowd, they totally could have made it feel like an intentional spot. So,
Or at least not drawn any attention to
yeah.
it.
Like, oops. Like,
Yeah, I mean, shit happens. It's a
it-
fucking match.
it's not even like it wasn't a stupid botch. Like, that's just shit that happens.
Yeah.
And our Meltzer rating for the match, 4.
Four, 4.5,
So-
4.25, and a 4. So you got a drink, Shane. That's not bad though. I mean, that's this whole pay-per-view for me is in this range. Like there's really nothing that's too far off of a 4 for me in either direction.
Well, speaking of things in relation to this pay-per-view, we're on to our second match of the evening, which is what was it? Was it the
Baron Corbin taking on Austin Aries?
Honestly, I went into this one thinking like, shit, this is gonna suck. I
This
really
was
did.
The best match of Corbin's run yet.
It
by a
was
lot.
Well, it went on 7 minutes longer than any other match.
But even still, at no point was I thinking, man, Baron Corbin fucking sucks. I was like, wow. And credit where credit's due. The majority of that falls on Austin Aries for being as good as his character says he is. Like
they're lucky Austin Aries sold for him. Like, I mean, Austin Aries is almost Low-key level of you don't know what you're gonna get. Did you remember when? Do you remember when he left? Do you remember when he he's just like, I'm out of here. Do you remember when he no-sold John Morrison's finish at the end of one of those Impact shows and
he
just got up and left?
He was pissed. Yeah.
I mean, that's all I could think about. I was like, he's selling more for the big bad bear, and then John Morrison.
You know, earlier we talked about how like nobody hates Volta. I'm pretty sure most people hate Austin Aries.
Yeah, Austin Aries can fuck off.
But that's, I mean, I give like credit where credit's due. That's he's one of those guys that lives the gimmick.
No, he's a great wrestler.
But I think right before this too, we saw in the crowd Kota Ibushi, right?
We did.
I skipped everything that wasn't match.
Dude, so. I went through, like, I remember being like, holy shit, Kota Ibushi is here. That was when I was like, really hit me about how far NXT's fallen off the fucking face of the earth. Is like they had a pay-per-view where they had Kota Ibushi, Austin Aries, fucking Robert Roode.
No, he was Bobby at this point.
Yeah, fucking whatever. Still Robert Roode, Bobby Roode. But dude, like all of those guys there, like just like fucking there in NXT. Not to mention everyone who else on the card.
Kota was there because he was hyping up the Cruiserweight Classic coming up.
I mean, he was still there though.
But you don't think for a second that if WWE didn't actually want to put some effort into like doing more, because nobody talked about the Forbidden Door with that. But that was some real deal fucking Forbidden Door shit right there.
Cruiserweight Classic kicked ass.
It was awesome.
That is a very solid point.
And like to see him there for that, and then to do the Cruiserweight Classic, like we're not talking about, some fucking like Kota Ibushi is one of the biggest names in Japanese wrestling, top 5 right now. He's up there. You talk about Kota, you talk about Minoru, you talk about Okada. Those are all names that you talk about.
Cruiserweight Classic was the first time we got Moro too, right? Didn't they bring in Moro specifically for the Cruiserweight Classic?
Yes, they absolutely did.
Oh yeah.
Who else was on that?
Corey Graves.
Yep. Who just got cleared to wrestle.
Yeah. Did. And if he wants to, I hope he leaves WWE.
Awesome.
But anyways, the match itself, I like the story of Austin Aries being the little pit bull that just wouldn't wouldn't let off the gas tank. Baron Corbin hit some pretty high octane offense. I like the deep six onto the floor.
Ooh,
I
that
thought
nasty.
Yeah, I thought that he kind of landed him in a shitty spot because he landed him on the portion of the ramp that starts inclining, so his head hit first.
Yes, dude. He's
Um,
still badass though.
He probably deserved it.
yeah, I didn't mind the finish of him almost getting Austin with the whatever it's called, the deep six or the
End of days.
Yeah, the end of days.
It is a very important note. The end of days has never been kicked out of.
That's
True.
crazy.
It is one of the most protected. It is probably the most protected finisher in WWE. currently.
Yeah, in WWE, I've seen this discussion on forums, and the obvious answer is Burning Hammer because he's used was a deep six or whatever. What is the one?
End of days.
End of days more than fucking the Burning Hammer is.
Well, yeah, but their old Burning Hammer is too dangerous to use.
That's why it's
But
so protected.
but anyways, yeah, I mean, and Aries ended up winning with a jump, like a jump over pinning combination. It made Baron Corbin look strong as hell. Austin Aries got a rudimentary win over kind of solid mid NXT talent. And I just thought all around it was a solid piece of business, and I liked it enough to give it a 3 stars.
Okay. All in all, I agree with your sentiments there for the most part. I really enjoyed how it was Austin Aries winning in a match that WWE can't pull off often, and they made Baron Corbin look stronger in defeat. They are very bad at that. All in all, the match did what it needed to do. It was a nice change of pace from the opener, and I am giving it a 2.5.
Wow, I like this. Man, must have been in a good mood something because I gave this a 3.5. I liked this match. It was another good match, and I was so excited to see Aries there, and I was excited to see Baron Corbin have a good match that wasn't it just wasn't like a slow, like just drawn out.
No, it was an actual match that had some sort of length.
It was great. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm going 3.5.
Okay, well, the Mr. Meltzer of the Messy Office gave this match a 2.25.
I liked it.
He could have done worse, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that one too much. I get it. But I just for some reason I was in a good mood.
He's rated way better matches, way worse. So, that brings us up to Sami Zayn taking on Shinsuke Nakamura.
The match of the night by far. God damn, this was so good. Everything from the fucking intros to the chanting to the fucking to Sammy sitting in the corner to like just everything about it. Like, fuck, man. Nakamura hitting hard, them trading blows, him getting the blood on his face and licking it. Oh,
it was good. It was damn good. And I watched this, and one of the first thoughts that came to my head as I watched it was, God damn, why do we have a watered down version of Shinsuke now? He is doing offense we haven't seen in years.
I love him.
Because that's what happens when you go to the main roster. Your offense gets neutered.
They tell you, don't waste it for Raw. Save it for a pay-per-view sometime that you're never going to be on.
It pains me because it was so good seeing, and it's something I say way too much in these NXT reviews, innovative offense. But it was there. Just so much good stuff. And this was the original time I watched this. This was my first real exposure to the Japanese style of wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, Dozer, go ahead.
I never watched Japanese wrestling. I still really don't unless Shane and Isaac forced me to watch New Japan.
And then I was like, I should watch more of this.
but this was absolutely amazing, and I have no qualms, nothing to hate about the match.
Even the referee's stoppage or whatever, as brief as it was, actually added to the match. They did that and they did that so well. And this is foreshadowing, but that referee blood stoppage, as brief as it was, it worked really well in the context of what they were doing. It didn't interfere with the match, and it actually added to it a little bit. This is gonna be an easy 5 for me. I loved this. This was such an important debut in the history of NXT. It was probably the most excited I've ever been watching a live pay-per-view at the time for Nakamura's debut. And I just loved every second of this match. There was nothing wrong with it. And we got the first fucking Corey Graves fucking Kinshasa.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, everything about this match was very good, as both of you have said. I loved Nakamura kicking Sami Zayn's head off.
mhm.
I loved, pretty much everything about it. But I'll tell you what hurt it a little bit for me is the fact that it had no real stakes, and it didn't need to, but also coming into it. At this point, Sami Zayn was on the first of his 3 or 4 matches where everybody thought he was leaving. And at the end they do the whole, Sami Zayn waves by, and it's the end because all he was doing was looking for competition because he got beat by Kevin Owens. He needed to prove it to himself. He still belonged. Whatever, blah blah. But you knew Nakamura was going to come in and win, because there was no, oh, this is number 1 contendership. Oh, this is for this title, whatever. It's good enough for a 4.5 for sure. It's a definitely go watch this match situation.
Multiple times. It's so good.
But
don't you dare say 4.5 as if it's some sort of insult to this match.
oh yeah, no. I mean, I was just saying it. There was enough pomp and circumstance to make the match have weight, but not enough to make me feel like there was any point, even knowing the outcome, there was not a point in time where I thought Sami Zayn was going to win this match.
And see, there was a point or two where I thought he could win. And I knew he didn't win, but I thought there were a couple points where I thought, oh my God, is he actually going to win? So I did have that thing, and the pomp and circumstance, the entrances were amazing. The show of respect at the end was not kayfabe breaking, which somehow it worked. It felt appropriate. For me, it's a 5. I gave it a 5. I loved it.
I'm drinking it.
And we don't have a clusterfuck. Meltzer gave it a 4-5, but we have a full house.
A 2-pair.
So, and you know what? For this era, a 4-5 from Meltzer is basically a 5.
Yeah, I mean,
he didn't give WWE 5s, so, and I'm sure if it had been anybody else doing the exact same match other than Shinsuke, it probably would have been a 3-5 in his mind. But he had a Japanese guy in there, so he bumped it up a little for himself. But it didn't suck. I loved it, every bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
That brings us to I'm titling this a co-main event because fuck it, it's the women's title. We have Bayley taking on the Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka.
God, this is another great match. This pay-per-view fucking rocked, dude.
Yeah, this was really good. This was really the advent of me being wow, Bayley's a pretty good wrestler, because this was a completely different match than any of the matches she had with Charlotte.
She went so hard in this.
Yeah, I mean, she was striking a lot heavier. There was a lot more chain wrestling from her.
Mm-hmm.
you know, she looked extremely competent on just a technical level. Obviously she ends up losing, and so starts the the never ending reign of Asuka that we'll be checking in on. Yeah, I mean it was just really good. And this one did have like who's gonna win, because Asuka was undefeated coming into this, but Bayley didn't have the belt for very long, and people love Bayley. Obviously, I think in the end they made the correct decision, because Asuka was a real force of nature, and Bayley ended up going and actually doing good things on the main roster,
and she was so over, and she had put in the work. It was it was she accomplished what she needed to, and Asuka needed to like be dominant. She needed to have that streak, and it was. I mean, just seeing Asuka do her shit in NXT at that point, where like they were still really allowing the talent to like make their matches. It was so cool. It was such a fun match. She's so hard hitting. She's such a badass. She's like they said at one point, she's like, it's a lot like Nakamura, and it's like, it's easy to say that like the two Japanese wrestlers have similar styles, but they really
called strong style.
But it really is. I mean, it really is. They wrestle a very similar style wrestling, and it is like Japanese strong style. But god damn it, it's like an incredibly fun wrestling style to watch if you're used to like just typical WWE stuff. And when they let them do that, and when you have someone like Bayley, who's normally such like a affable and lovable character, right? Who's wrestles because she loves her fans, etc. Like you have these moments where she's like just fighting out of fucking just pure just will of fucking like of her fighting fucking spirit or whatever. Like there's something about like seeing her tip into the borderline, just like angry, like fucking willing to put anything on the line, do whatever it takes, fight Asuka kind of shit. And it just brought out the best in Bayley, who had already been like kept leveling up. Like, I mean, I feel like every match that she's been involved with, like it just pushes just a little harder and like pushes her game up.
Yeah.
At this point,
I just don't think that this match was as good as the last couple she's had with Sasha. Like I couldn't really point you to what went wrong with it, because I don't really know. But for whatever reason, this match just doesn't click with me as much as the last couple Bayley title matches have. And for that, I think I give it like a solid 4. I mean, like it's still like an extremely good match, but
that's great.
So, one, I can tell you what went wrong. You have, as we've stated several times here, Japanese strong style. It's a different style of wrestling. And Bayley, for the most part, being a WWE person through and through, has not had a lot of experience selling for the Japanese strong style.
She did great, though.
She did good. She did damn good. And I think just that little bit more of experience, because, Sami Zayn had way more time on the indies to learn how to sell that a little bit better and work with that style of wrestler.
And to be fair, and not that I'm saying that Asuka is not stiff, because she's very stiff and was very stiff in this match. I'm sure Nakamura and Samuel were probably laying in the shots a little bit more than Asuka and Bayley were.
Well, I mean, we saw the blood and fucking. You gave it a 4?
Yes.
Dozer, what'd you give it?
I haven't rated it yet because I haven't really spoke about it yet.
You didn't? Oh. Did I?
But you did. You didn't give it a rating, though.
I didn't. Okay.
But what I was going to say is I remember back when I first watched this match, I didn't get Asuka at the time. I thought she was strange. I thought she would never have any mass market appeal. I just thought she was going to flop. And I am very happy to say I was damn wrong at that time.
I'd love her to flop her ass on my face.
I thought also Bailey was not going to make it long term. I did not know how long her happy-go-lucky gimmick could work out, and I did not think she could play a believable heel. But goddamn, she did it, and she did it well. I loved every bit of the match, and I really loved, and I come back to this. I really love the knockout finish where Bailey just passes out, because I thought that worked really well in the context of the match and the context of the show as a whole. So I gave this a 4-5. I enjoyed it a lot.
See, I've been torn, and I agree with you, Dozer. I think like the finish was awesome, storytelling was great. I've been torn between what Shane rated it and what you rated it.
So I think you should rate it in between, because that's
math.
fairest.
That's math. No, that's
Yeah.
math. It's fucking math, pure and simple. 4.25. This match was awesome. I loved it. It's worthy of that rating. Anything up above a 4 in the Such Good Shoot universe is fucking worth watching more than once. And
Yes.
when it comes to a wrestling match, if you're willing to watch it more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times, that's a plus 4 for us.
And Dave Meltzer gave this match a 3.75.
He's wrong. He's wrong.
He
We all
is.
agree he's wrong on that one.
He could have been more wrong.
You know,
And then
he
we
could have been more wrong, because he could have been the people in gorilla position for this next match who were the most wrong people of NXT fucking history. Wrong. What they did was wrong.
We have Finn Balor versus Samoan Joseph. A
Joseph man of Samoan descent.
A Samoan man they refer to as Joe.
By God, he's Samoan.
This match opened like very Japanese as well. I mean, and honestly stayed very Japanese throughout.
I mean, so literally the first thing that happens is they're trading blows and they accidentally headbutt each other, and fucking Joe's eyebrow or eye gets split wide open and he starts pissing blood.
Yeah, I mean it's a leaker for sure. It's like an MMA cut. But yeah, the issue is the referee and the medical team really want to check this cut to the point where about once every 30 seconds to 2 minutes in the match, the medical team comes over and stops it, and they clean up Joe, and Joe's getting pissed, and he's like, "Get the fuck away!"
So mad.
I wish all those people were on the contact list so you could see Joe knock them the fuck out.
Yeah,
and that would have been great storytelling there.
And you can tell that, like, at first he's trying to sell for it, you know, because like when he shoves the referee or whatever, and I'm sure he's real, but you know, he's still trying to, play it up and, wipe my eye, whatever, get the fuck away from me. But by the time we're like halfway through the match, he's like raising his hands in disgust. At one point, he starts walking like up the ramp, and I was watching, I was like, he's about to walk out. Like, he's about to just give up.
I'd be pissed too, because
the only people more pissed than him was the crowd.
Yeah, well, I mean, they had a match ruined
Fuck
for
PG. Them Fuck PG.
I mean, that should have been like a 4+ star match.
If he would have worn that crimson mask for the match, he would have seemed like such a monster.
And honestly, 100%. And I'm not just saying this because, it could have, would have, should have, but this is one of those matches that he busted open. And if he had exactly worn that through the whole match, had they had a referee come in and tried to check on him and he shoved him away, and fucking anyone who came and tried to check on him shoved him away, and they made it part of the storyline, and he fucking ended up having the same match without the interruptions, for me, it would have been another 5-star match. It would have been 2 5-star matches on one pay-per-view. It would have done exactly what they needed to do for Samoa Joe. But ultimately, the constant interruptions really sabotaged it. The visual, like the easily fucking seeable fucking frustration on Samoa Joe, the crowd just being pissed off with the match. So many things just really pulled you out of it. The one thing that I loved about this, especially from the beginning, can we just take 1 second to talk about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre
Oh,
fucking
that was
entrance?
beautiful. I forgot he did that, and I
Yeah,
love that.
and there was so many things about it that, like, had that not happened, that, like, because that's all part of it, right? Like, you get the perfect entrance to the show, you get the perfect, like, atmosphere, you get everyone hyped, and then
It,
it all falls apart. And um
and they sell it. You
yeah.
sell it as two monsters fighting. You have the
Hmm.
demon. You have Leatherface going
Hmm.
against Godzilla.
Yeah, Samoa Joe. And I watched it with my roommate, man. I was like, dude, watch this fight because he's about to get his fucking face busted open. And he's like, really? And like, that was when I was like, wait, what the fuck did happen? How did
It,
he do it? And we watched it, and then, like, we watched the whole match, and he's like, this is like Jesus Christ, they don't have weight classes. That was
it,
the first thing he says, like, they don't have weight classes. Like, no, they don't mean anything. But
it,
like, he was just impressed with how badass Samoa Joe is.
yeah, and one of the things that bothers me is I feel their increased attention to needing to patch up blood right away and get the medical staff in there. Like, to me, okay, you could give that if you're trying to give it the real fight feel. But then in no real fight is a ref going to let somebody hold somebody in a submission move for 2 minutes. Like, yeah, okay, they're not tapping out, they're not passing out, but they've been in there for 2 minutes. The match is over. Like, just
Yeah. No, I mean, what they pick and choose is fucking ridiculous. But yeah, you know, I really, really wanted so much more from this match. And it's one of those things that, like, remember that movie Lucy with fucking Scarlett Johansson, where she fucking
that's
is a
the 10%
drug.
of your brain movie thing.
Yeah. And she takes a bunch of drugs and she starts, like, opening up, like, potential in her brain. And it's like one of those things where, like, little bits of it, like, so much of it, like, the potential is there, and there was so much that was like the structure, the bones of it were there, right? The skeleton, the fucking the what do you call it when you're building a building and then they put something up and it's,
Framework, framing.
yeah, that's it. I feel like there's another word though. Scaffolding or whatever. But you're building all that shit,
Well, see,
right? But you don't, but like ultimately, like, what you're trying to build around it just doesn't come together in with the vision and with, like, this, the fucking gravitas that the
It,
idea and everything that it hints at deserves.
well, and it's one of those weird things where they had this abnormal, bizarre, one in a million glancing blow at the beginning of a match that cut him open.
Mhm.
And this one moment you could have had it turn this into a amazing match,
Mhm.
but you made the decision that ruined it. Like, it didn't ruin it. It was still a good match, and I did my
It
best to
it hurt it.
fade out the WWE of the time and just let their work speak, not the people in black shirts. But
I'm gonna just go ahead and say it was a 3.5 ultimately.
I agree. It was a 3.5. I really enjoyed Finn Balor getting thrown into the fake security guard, like into
Over
the
the Oh my
crowd,
god,
yeah,
dude,
over the
right?
rail
You're
and
like
just dying. And then I love him standing up and just completely not
coming
selling.
up over the
Yeah,
fucking
yeah, and then
dude,
standing
great
up on it
moment.
and
Great
launching
moment.
and elbowing. I liked.
There was
Uh,
so much good about it.
yeah, I liked the him finally getting the sling blade after getting denied so many times, and ending up in the coup de grace. And then they did like the what who did that finish, like Owen Hart, right, or somebody like that,
It
the
was something, yeah, it was like
yeah,
he was
the
in the
liftover.
Well,
know,
he was
that
in what, the Kimura clutch or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he had his back on the ground and he got the pinfall.
I need to talk about this for a second because this is where there was perfect entire show storytelling. Because you have to remember at this time in WWE, the pass out finish was not a common thing. They did not do a lot of the pass out submissions. It was tap, always tap. And you had right before this, you had Bailey lose to passing out.
Mm-hmm.
And right before the flip happens in the Kimura clutch, you have Balor looking like he is about to pass out. Then the demon awakens and gets that pin. It was perfect storytelling. It was set up in the prior match to come through this match and tell it. Was that intentional by Bucky Beaver? No. Was this intentional by Finn Balor? I guarantee
Bucky
you it was.
Beaver had nothing to do with this.
nothing to do with this
And I do
show
believe
at
that they
all.
probably like used that and were like, oh, let's fucking hint at this because they put so much thought and intention into this show. Dozer, what did you rate it?
I liked it better than you guys. I gave it a 4-5. And you all should be thanking me right now for that 4-5. Because Meltzer gave it a 3-5.
Oh wow.
I'm drinking because I want to drink.
Yeah, you liked the match too much, but it was good. I mean, it was
I
good,
did.
but
Yep.
I was
But there
able to
was-
look past the WWE policy bullshit.
yeah, it was a diamond in the rough. But man, what the rough part was fucking rough, real rough.
It was. And I do have to give a amendment. I read my scores wrong. The prior match for me was a 4-2-5. It was not a 4-5.
Oh,
Does
so
Does that mean you have to drink?
yes.
I am sorry for that. That is my bad.
All right. Final show ratings, gentlemen.
Is this the best pay-per-view we have watched to date in our NXT? Not, it's definitely the best takeover, but is this the best in our? It's definitely, yeah. You know what?
It's the
I mean,
best
I-
in our entire Rewind series,
Four-
and modern
four-
pay-per-view sucks. So yeah,
4.5 stars for this pay-per-view. This is not only a pay-per-view that I would watch again. This is a must-watch pay-per-view. Like, to understand how tragic the loss of NXT Black and Gold is, you can't understand the depths of that loss unless you have watched NXT Takeover Dallas. This is the first true takeover in every sense of the word, where every match was a banger. There wasn't a garbage match. There wasn't a filler. It was 5 matches, all over 15 minutes basically, and all bangers.
Yeah, I agree. I do not think it's a 4.5 star show, but I do believe it is a 4.25 star show.
okay. I think you're both wrong.
It's like a 4.37624.
No. I'm not giving it any weird numbers here. In my opinion, by the pacing of the show, the times, how the show worked as a whole, it was a 5. The entire show, packed bell to bell, perfect show.
It was so
Because
close to perfect.
You can't, like, every match on the show is not going to be a 5. It's not going to be perfect. But there was nothing that ranked below average for me. Like, literally, the worst match hit average. That's not bad. I'll take it. So I gave it a perfect 5. But the big difference is I also viewed the main event differently than you.
Yeah, and I'm torn because I do.
Isaac, you didn't like the main event well
You
enough.
No,
to
no,
give
no,
are
it a
allowed
no.
to have your
Yeah.
own goddamn opinion. That's like
No.
the point of the fucking show.
Fuck, man, I'm just like feeling so good, man. No, I just your argument is compelling. But no, I'm sticking with 4.5. But it is an incredible pay-per-view, front to back. Watch it. 100% watch it.
And-
Must watch. Go watch it now before you jerk off tonight.
And following the simple rules of calculating the Meltzer show rating, he's
Wait a-
wrong. He's always wrong.
No, go for it.
3.6.
What was your real rating for this show?
Oh, if I calculate it out?
Because you have to do that. I'm sorry, you have to.
God damn you.
Yeah, because I want to know, because that's how you've rated basically the last like 6 pay-per-views we've fucking done. Yeah. God, man, what a good show. What a good show. And this is I think this is where it started, where probably put a bug up fucking Kevin Dunn's ass, that because this show was the first one that everyone's like, man, this is so much better than WrestleMania.
Yep. Yeah,
Literally
everyone.
Partially because it's shorter.
No, I mean, that's part of it, but like literally there was such good wrestling on this, and it was like every match was better than the main event of WrestleMania that year.
Yeah, I mean, this was the show that really like made NXT like a phenomenon.
Mhm.
Yeah. And my calculated rating is a 4.15.
That's not bad. That's not bad, which is a 5. So on that bombshell, my name's Isaac. That's Shane. That's Mr. Dozer. We
I am.
are sending all our love, all our positive energy to our friends and all the people who are going to be, dealing with medical issues. So I love you all. We're thinking of you, and I hope everything goes well.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you for listening to this edition of Such Good Shoot. If you are on YouTube, please remember to like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon. Or subscribe to us on your favorite audio catcher. Or finally, if you're on Facebook, leave a comment, like the video, and make sure to share it out to all your friends. Until next time, we have been Such Good Shoot, and have a